Okay, welcome to the first Thursday chat of the year, January 4th. We have a number of announcements, and we also have, before we have two presentations. David Rader is here to talk about Touchdown, and we have Matthew Smith, who's Director of Hospice at HSL, who's going to give us a brief outline of hospice. But first, Barbara Nadich.
Thank you. I'm actually speaking today about the birthday wishes or birthday in a box. I just wanted to let everybody know that the official numbers I got from Birthday Wishes is that they serviced 480 birthday children that were homeless in the month of December. Their program also impacted 2,880 people, the family and friends who celebrated along with the children. So if you're thinking of a birthday gift or something, you received the email from the outreach committee. Just look for the box that's right outside of Centro, and if you walk by and you have some extra change or dollar bills, you can put them in there, and we provide boxes to the Birthday Wishes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mitch Freeman.
All right, thank you, Jerry. I just want to let everybody know that I've updated the independent ride services, the drivers here. I took out a couple names, added some new ones, increased the description of what they do. And Jessica Coleman says she'll put this in the newsletter this week. And Joe, the concierge, there's extra copies over by the mailboxes there. So if you have any questions, Joe will help you, but it's all updated. And I want to thank Kendall for helping me out, because believe you me, this wasn't my typing skills and computer skills. She really brought this to life and changed it. She did a good job, made it really nice. So it's out there, new names there, and more of a description. So it'll be in the newsletter, and Joe has more copies, the concierge.
Okay, thank you. Sharon Gouveia.
Thank you, Jerry. You know, the temperature is dropping and we have a forecast of snow. I cannot imagine what it's like living out on the streets. And that's the situation with many of the women at the Women's Lunch Place. So the volunteer, our outreach is once again asking you to donate hand and foot warmers, scarves, gloves, hats, and new socks to help these people at least stay warm when they're outside. There will be a bin down by the waterfall near Nosh, and it will be there from January 15th through the 18th. So check your closets. If you go to the store and can pick up any of these items, that would be wonderful. If you have any questions, please give me a call. Thank you. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you. So Larissa Levitch. You need to unmute, I guess. I don't see you,
Yep.
Larissa.
Yep. And I keep talking, so I'm almost done. Okay. Hi, everybody. First of all, I'd like to share with you that I am very grateful that I was able to celebrate New Year's Eve with you. I have not seen so much joy and smiles in this community for a long time, and dancing. And I've realized that apparently we all love the same music. So we are in the same boat, and going forward, I'm going to look at more dancing opportunities for the community. Now, on a more serious note, yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, I sent out an announcement about our winter semester of lifelong learning. I hope you got it. I'm gonna do a repeat in a few days. The registration form was attached to the announcement. I'm super proud. So this semester is once again is led by our own experts. And it's amazing to see how much of intellectual knowledge and wisdom this community has, but also the willingness to share the knowledge and expertise with the neighbors and friends. So we are gonna start the week of January 21st. And I'm offering 3 courses. One is by one of our favorite in-house instructors, Bob Orkin. Bob actually changed the topic in the last moment based on the interest of this community to learn more about modern Israel. So it's going to be a course on modern Israel that is going to happen on Sundays. And then we have 2 new instructors, and one is art historian Helene Balin, whose specialty and expertise in Impressionism, and she's gonna talk about French paintings, French Impressionism. I know I got a feedback from her former students that she's remarkable, that her course is so interesting and exciting. This is the first time in a long time that I offer a course on art history, and I hope that many of you will take this opportunity. And the third course is probably one of the most unusual and interesting courses that I've offered a year. Actually, it's not me, it's our own Anna Marcus, who came with a very interesting idea. I think very interesting, very relevant. And her course is on the best of banned and vulnerable children picture books. I hope Anna is not gonna be upset with me, but she's been working on this course for months, thinking about the concept and how to make this course actually a participatory course. We have a limit of 24 people who can join. So for this course in particular, I will ask you to think and to commit, because I don't want a situation that you think, oh, it's interesting, you sign up and then you realize that the day is not good for you, because I want people who really can commit, be able to participate in this course. As you know, all our courses that are led by our own instructors are complementary. But what I'm asking you for a commitment. Look at your calendar, look at your schedule. I'm sorry, look at your doctor's appointments and decide whether you can go for all 6 weeks. It's okay to miss one, but it's not okay to miss 4, because you might take a place of somebody who would come to all the courses. If you have any questions about any of the courses, you know how to find me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Rabbi Judy.
Hi, everybody. I would like to share with you just recently confirmed change of plan for our Torah study class on January 10th, this coming week. Instead of meeting in the Beal Family Interfaith Chapel, as we do every week at 11 o'clock, we will instead be meeting in the synagogue, because the class will be taught by Miriam Priven, who is the LGBTQ chaplaincy intern for Hebrew Senior Life. She works mostly in Roslindale, but also at Newbridge. And she's going to be teaching a class for Torah study called The Many Genders of Judaism. And it should be a really interesting and unusual class, which is why I moved it to the synagogue, so that there'll be room for more people to attend. So that will be, I'm sending out a flyer, which I'm working on right now, and that will be for January 10th, Wednesday. Thank you. Hope to see you there.
Thank you. Rona Goodman has a question. Unmute.
Yeah, hi. Happy, I guess the happiest thing about New Year's, it's over. what was I gonna say? Oh, you know, we used to have a bus that would take us to museums. And I haven't seen any announcement of that recently to any museum. And so I'm curious as to what has happened and if that's going to resume. Also, I heard that there was a bus that was going to the American Repertory Theater. And somebody said they were going to sign up, and I didn't know anything about that. I hadn't seen any announcement. So
Right.
I'm just telling you all that.
Okay.
So,
Larissa, go-
Jerry, if you don't mind, I can reply to the question about
Go
museum.
ahead.
That's
All
what I-
right. So, Ron, I have a good surprise for you. If you look at January calendar, you will see a trip to the Worcester Art Museum with a private tour given by the Director Emeritus of Worcester Art Museum. I also think that you refer to the time when we were like just offering a transportation to MFA, like once a month. Am I right? Is it something that you were asking? Because I want
I
to
did
make
ask
sure.
about that, yes.
Yeah. So this is what happened, and you can actually help me. We resumed it after when Museum of Fine Arts opened after pandemic. We resumed these trips, but after 2, we had to stop because we did not have enough people. So if you help me to kind of spread the word, I'm happy to resume it. It just we need 7 people to justify any transportation effort. So let's work together on that.
Okay, and what about the American Repertory Theater?
I don't have an answer for that. I'm sorry. Is it like
Is
Joe?
there a bus going?
As I
Larissa,
said, I'm sorry. I cannot really. I don't have an educated answer.
Thank you.
Larissa, this is Mark.
Oh, okay.
Jerry. Yeah. So,
Go ahead.
Rona, the theater forms, the American Repertory Theater forms have been out. There should be a folder in the Cottage Clubhouse, right by the mailboxes with the sign-up forms for the American Repertory Theater. They've been, I don't know, up there. I think they came out sometime in August, so you should find them there. And Joe will stop there on his way out tonight just to make sure in case it's empty for any reason, but they should be up in the folder up there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, very good. So some time ago, I had a request and was planned for today that we're going to hear briefly from Matthew Smith, who was director of hospice at HSL, and explain to us the service that is available. We heard about what do you call it, care earlier, which has some link to that. Why can't I think of the name of it? But
Palliative, palliative.
yeah, thanks. So anyway, Matthew Smith, go ahead.
Hello, Jerry, and hello, everyone, and thank you for this invitation today to speak with you folks. Yeah, so you may or may not be aware that Hebrew Senior Life offers just a wide array of services, and hospice care is one of them. So I am currently in my 5th year at Hebrew Senior, I'm nearing my 5th year at Hebrew Senior Life as the clinical director for hospice. So I just wanted to talk to you folks a little bit about what hospice care is, how we start hospice care, and then maybe talk about some of the misconceptions of hospice care. So essentially, if somebody would like to has a life-limiting illness and no longer wants to seek hospital-based care but would rather stay home and be treated in their home, those are folks that are good candidates for hospice care. So we may receive a call from the person themselves. We may receive a call from a family member. Oftentimes we receive calls from doctors or healthcare teams such as nurses that maybe think that there may be somebody that's an appropriate candidate for hospice care. So we can get referrals from any one of those, And then we would start the ball rolling on, setting up an information session to meet with a family or meet with somebody to review our services. So our services include, initially what'll happen is then there'll be a nurse that would respond to the home and review, what those services are. So typically it could be a nurse that's visiting once a day and, doing an assessment, checking vital signs, maybe making adjustments to, blood pressure medications if somebody has, a heart condition or high blood pressure. It doesn't mean that when you access hospice care that you were going to stop, making adjustments to your medications. It's comfort focused. So if someone, has medications that, if the levels or, blood pressure gets out of whack or heart rate, that's not focused on comfort. So we still want to, continue to manage someone, but just the only thing that we're focusing on is keeping someone out of the hospital. So the nurse would be making regularly scheduled visits. And then in addition to that, it's a 24-hour service, which is unique to most other programs for healthcare in your home. Meaning that, if there was an issue that came up in the middle of the night or 2 o'clock in the morning or any time when the nurse isn't there, then you have the ability that somebody's on hospice care, that you just pick up the phone and call our office, and we have nurses that are available to, sometimes answer questions over the phone, but more often, it's that the nurse would respond to your home and, check on you. And, the other piece to this is that there is a hospice physician that's involved, but we're more consultative, meaning that your primary care physician, if you access hospice, is still very much involved, still the doctor that's giving us all of our orders. And if we wanted to make, any changes to anything that you're currently receiving, such as if we wanted to adjust a medication, then we are working with the person that's receiving hospice care or their family. And once we're all on the same page, then we would bring that to the primary care physician so we don't come in when somebody accesses hospice care and, take over their care. We're more, we integrate into the existing care team. So it's extra support versus, somebody when they access hospice care giving up anything. And I think that's one of the misconceptions, is that sometimes folks think of hospice care as that, that it's giving up. But really, if somebody's eligible for hospice care and wants to avoid the hospital, it's a fantastic additional support that people receive. We have, and I see that there's hands up, and I am going to take questions out.
Okay, I'll handle the questions. So are you ready for questions?
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about the other members of the hospice team as well.
Why don't you do that, and then we'll get to the questions. Go ahead.
So it's also family care. So it's not only the person that's on hospice, the person with the, prognosis of 6 months or less, but it's also care for the family. So we have social work support that is in addition to, maybe you currently have a social worker, but our social worker would come in and, integrate into the team. We have chaplain support that, we don't take over somebody's existing faith community, but we're more integrating, into that with a focus on, our hospice chaplain and our hospice social worker specialize in end of life issues, in addition to, other social work and chaplaincy, support. We cover medical equipment. So it's anything that, from hospital bed, oxygen, anything that we would need to keep somebody out of the hospital through medical equipment is covered under hospice. We also have volunteer support. So there's a volunteer that can come and, focus on something non-medical, maybe give the family a break, and it's it's non-medical focus. So those are essentially the core, interdisciplinary team members. And then hospice care continues for families for, a minimum of 13 months that we provide bereavement support. So it's continuing to provide support to families that are, mourning. So that's essentially what makes hospice unique, is that, it's holistic, so there is some personal care support as well. So there's an hour a day for up to 5 days a week that we can get, extra aid support to, help with anything from bathing, dressing, and grooming to companionship. They can do light meal prep, those sorts of things. So that's essentially the core, services that you would receive, and it's covered 100% by Medicare. So there's or most private insurances. I haven't encountered a private insurance that didn't cover it 100%. So there's no co-payments or anything associated with hospice care for folks that are eligible for it. All right, so I can answer any questions that
Oh,
folks.
good. So first Anna Marcus and then Carol Marlin. Go ahead, Anna. Unmute.
I was under the impression that it was a 6-month program. And I also wondered how one qualifies for hospice, because if someone says, I don't want any further care, hospital care, right? Does it have to be an end of life situation? And who would evaluate that?
Those are fantastic questions. There does need to be a 6-month prognosis, and the way that it's evaluated is that we have a hospice physician who's very knowledgeable about what's called the prognostic guidelines. So we have guidelines that are disease specific, and then we have non-disease specific guidelines, but it's not an exact science. So, Jimmy Carter, comes to mind, where he's been on hospice care for longer than 6 months because it's a rolling evaluation. So people are, there's been sometimes somebody comes on to hospice because their clinical picture does look like 6 months. And then they've received this fantastic care that after the first 90 days, some folks get discharged or get recertified. And that can go on indefinitely. So it can go beyond 6 months, but initially, while somebody's on hospice, they have to be deemed to have a 6-month prognosis by their attending doctor and the hospice physician.
Thank
So
you.
doctors.
Thank you.
Okay, Carol Marlin and then Rona.
I was wondering, what is the policy for end-of-life hydration IV?
So there isn't a one-size-fits-all policy on that particular situation. There are times where there have been folks that have received subcutaneous hydration at end of life. But sometimes when the body's shutting down and we talk about fluids being infused into the circulatory system, that the heart's not able to pump those fluids. So every case is different as to why somebody may be looking for hydration. But there are a lot of times, if the heart's not pumping the fluid through the system adequately, then it can cause more distress than doing any benefit. So it can expedite somebody's, process and cause discomfort. So there are times where people do get.
So there are instances where you would use it, though.
That's correct.
You would use it. Okay, because I've heard where hospice has said they wouldn't use it. So that's and in a particular case, it was I think it was a mistake. Any case, so that's good to know. Okay, thank you.
And typically we do it again. We do it there's subcutaneous. We have a policy for subcutaneous hydration, and sometimes
what is that? What does that mean?
Where it goes, it's not going into the IV, but it's going into the subcutaneous tissue. So it's a little needle that goes in and it's slower. It's a slower infusion that could, in theory, maybe prevent some pulmonary or some lung, issues.
No, if there was some discomfort, in other words, the dehydration was causing discomfort, serious discomfort, so that you could, that sometimes it's a borderline.
That's correct.
Right, okay.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Rona Goodman.
Hi again. My husband Alan, who died a couple of months ago, was in hospice for over 2 years. And the hospice team was absolutely wonderful. The doctor was terrific. And the nurses came twice a week. And there were other things, other people that provided help as well. I had a social worker that came here. She still comes here to talk to me. And it's wonderful. I can't recommend it more for people that really need it. Alan didn't want to go into long-term care. He wanted to stay home. And because of hospice, I was able to do that for him. I didn't know about the caregivers that come over here from hospice, though, because I had to provide my own. But he wasn't supposed to live that long, and he lived for way over 2 years. So I'm very grateful to hospice for doing that. So if you feel you can talk to people about it, the doctor came over here every 2 months to reevaluate Alan to see if it was okay to keep him going and I don't know what they would have done if they decided that he shouldn't go. But I think that it really is terrific. So thanks for listening. Bye.
Thank you. That was, I think, very helpful. And thank you, Matthew. Appreciate your coming here.
Yeah, and thank you again for inviting me. And I can share my email address in the comments if somebody wants to if anybody has any additional questions or
Good.
to learn more information about it, I'm more than happy.
Put it in the chat. Good.
Well,
thank you. So last week there were some questions about Touchtown, and David wasn't there, and Jessica promised that this week that she would contact David and he would come, and I understand that he has a presentation to make, and you're all set to show your screen, David, and to take any questions and absorb any suggestions that may come out of it. Go ahead.
Very good. Thank you, Jerry. Good to see everybody. Happy New Year. And yes, I was not on the call last week. I was off on Thursday, but through Touchtown, I was able to watch last week's chat. So I'm up to date on some of the issues and questions that came up last week. And I think it's a good idea for us to sort of take a check on how Touchtown is doing, how you're all doing with Touchtown, because we're at the 6-month mark. We launched in June, so I think it's a good time to check in with you all to see how it's working for you. So I do have a presentation to share. Jerry, if I can share my screen.
You're all set.
Just so I stay on topic today. Let's see. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to do okay. So as far as our goals for today, my goal for today, first, I found some data through our Touchtown app to share with you on how people are using the app. Second, and I think this is most important, is to remind you where and how to get help if you're struggling with the app. I want to take a minute and review the personalized bio feature that is available to all of you through the resident directory, and then answer some questions. Okay, so usage. So since June, one of the things that the Touchtown app can do is put in direct requests to our one-stop shop areas. So since June, we have received 417 work orders, 135 member away forms, 62 medical transportation requests, and 59 requests for IT. So certainly the vast majority are work orders. So that just gives you a sense in the last 6 months how many people are using the online forms. In the last 30 days, And this is the only information I was able to glean from Touchtown. In the last 30 days, we've had 3,777 logins. Of those 3,777, 2,679 were people using either an iPhone, an iPad, or a Mac computer. So again, the vast majority of you are getting your information, I would assume, from iPhones and iPads. 293 logins in the last 30 days were for Android devices. And finally, 553 logins were via the web browser. So for those of you who don't have or don't use a smartphone or a tablet, you can find all the information for Touchtown on your laptop or personal computer. Okay, now we're going to talk about what to do if you need help. So after talking to some folks on the team, one of the things that comes up a lot where people need some specific help is that they don't know or they don't remember their password. And by the way, you don't have to take notes on this presentation. I'm going to send this separately as an attachment to everybody, so you don't need to take notes. But there's a very simple 3-step process if you don't know or remember your password. So that involves going directly to the sign-in page, clicking forget password, and then you check your email for instructions on how to reset your password. And I put another note here that you really should not need to enter your password every time you use Touchtown. I tried myself for this presentation to give you a step-by-step instruction because I have Touchtown on my own phone. It doesn't look exactly the same as yours, but I don't have to put in my password every time I use it. Okay. So now I still need help that I have my password, but I still need help. So here's a little description on where you can find help. So first and foremost, one option you have is to go directly to the department where there is an issue. So for an example, we've gotten a strange notification about our transportation request form, and that it's doing some strange things. The other example was the mistake that we made last week, that the program calendar had not been entered for that week. And I know Larissa addressed that last week. So if you see specific issues, I would go directly to the department that owns that. So if you don't see programs, you can always get in touch with the program team, and then we'll work towards a solution. If something's wrong with the medical transportation form, try to get in touch with our transportation team. They will work with me, and we'll try to figure out what's wrong. That's not the only place you can get help. So the other way, so that's really if something, if there's a mistake, or we've gotten something wrong, or something's not working right, first go directly to the department. If you need help with actually navigating the app and using it to your advantage, there are several ways that you can get help. One way is to seek the help of several of our residents who what I would call expert users. And I've listed them by name here. This is a group of people that helped develop the app last spring. And before we launched in June, they were actually using the app so that they would be in a position to help residents who are in need. So thank you in advance to our resident expert users, Bob, Jim Harrison, Mayor Fine, Charlie, Joan, Carol, or Jerry Nadich. More on that in a little bit. The other way you can get help is through Joe Bernardo in our IT department. Simply make a request through 49500, and Joe will try to help you with whatever issues you're having. The other way that we can get customer support is directly through Touchtown themselves. so the Touchtown customer support number I've listed here. And again, I'll share this with everybody so that you have it. But they're there 24/7. I must admit, sometimes the Touchtown customer support, depending on the time of the day, can have up to like a 10-minute waiting time. But this is another option available to you. And last but not least, I am available for suggestions or issues. So you can always email me, and I'll do my best to come up with a solution, or if it's a suggestion, to bring it to the greater team. Okay. So here's this next section. So I'm calling this Update Your Bio. So when we launched Touchtown, one of the things that our friends at Orchard Cove were raving about was not just the fact that Touchtown has the ability to give you information. So the program calendar, the menus, lots of information on Touchtown that may or may not be of use to you. But what we were really excited about was how other communities have used the resident directory as a way to foster connections between residents. So I know some of you have taken the time to go into Touchtown, go into your own bio, and include things like your hobbies, your professional background, your academic backgrounds. And from there, so basically, this is an opportunity for you to share what you want others to know about you. You always have the option of just having your picture, your phone number, and your email address so that people can get in touch with you. The way that this works at Newbridge and in other communities is, let's say I am a new resident and I like to play chess, for example. If I go into the resident directory on the app, there's a search feature right at the top. If I type in the word chess, it will give me a list of all residents who have indicated that one of their hobbies is chess. So just for trial, I did that this morning, and there was one resident who has a hobby of chess. So out of 330 people, I would be surprised if we don't have more people who play chess. So I know this was part of our launch, and I was encouraging people to add more depth to their bio. I would say maybe 10 to 20% of the residents are adding this information. So I would encourage you to really think about taking a few minutes and updating your bio. So it's very easy to do that. So once you're in the app, you just click on your picture, and then you click on My Profile, and then share the information that you want others to know. Make sure you hit Save, and then your information will be there for others to see. I think it's also time for us to have another drop-in help session. Remember, we did this back in June when we launched the app. So we've dedicated Friday, January 19th, and we'll have a flyer, and this will be on the weekly calendar. Friday, January 19th, from 2 to 3:30 in Great Meadow Hall. We'll have some of our Touchtown resident experts there. Some members of the community life team will be there. So if you're having challenges on using Touchtown, bring your device with you, and we'll be able to give you some one-on-one help. Okay, that's my presentation. Now I'm ready for questions.
So
Thanks so
Carol
much.
Marlin has the first question. Go
Let
ahead.
me stop my share. There we go. Okay.
David, when can we expect to see the weekly calendar? If the actual foodie on, I know last week it didn't come till the end, till just recently, but when can that happen? Can we expect to see it? When should it appear? It comes out, we get it like a hard copy comes on Friday, but I'm wondering when we can expect to have it.
The weekly newsletter is on there right now for the current week.
No, the food, yes, but the food, the actual foodie that you do make a copy, that's now on there, but it was late. What day in the week? What does it, Saturday, Sunday, or is it not till Monday, after it comes out on Friday, that we would actually see the foodie?
So I might ask Josh to
Yeah,
chime in here.
Thank you very much. Carol, we don't have the foodie. We have the culinary corner, which is part of the weekly newsletter.
No, I don't mean the foodie. The entire booklet that we get. I don't know what I've heard people refer to it as the foodie. I'm not sure what it's called. It's the booklet that gives the weekly events, including the food, including everything, the hard copy. When is that supposed to appear on?
So I mean, I can sort of take that. So, communication communication and technology, I think we can all acknowledge, can be challenging because we're talking about people creating the content, and we're talking about people using the content. We do not have, so as many of you probably know, we have more than one way of communicating things to residents. We have paper, which a lot of people rely on, the weekly paper packet that many get in their mailbox. So we have to always provide an option for people who don't have email and don't have a smartphone and rely on paper. So for those residents, that's where that paper packet comes in. We also have a voice friend, which is the way that we send out telephone messages to residents for various reasons, reminders of trips, this elevator is going down, things like that. Then we have Constant Contact, which is our way of sending you specifically emails. So this is like the Friday afternoon weekly newsletter. So when the weekly newsletter that goes out by email is basically an electronic version of the paper weekly packet that some people get in their mailbox. That weekly newsletter is also provided on Touchtown every week so that you can click on the weekly newsletter and then click on the live links within that. So we have like four different,
we
Nancy?
aim to have it released after the email comes out. When the email officially comes out, Joe is behind the scenes stuffing the mailboxes, and then the actual calendar on Touchtown is hopefully added up there, but because it's time consuming, as far as like a staff member putting it in there, sometimes it might be late, but the goal is Friday, end of day Friday for the week prior.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows behind the scenes, in order for the program calendar to be visible to you all on the app, it takes one of our staff, a member of the team, to actually manually enter each program, copy paste the description of the movies and things like that. So it's not something that we just press a button and it instantly happens.
David? David, I think we're talking about two things. One is a replica of the day's event, and sometimes it's complete and sometimes little things are left out, but that's beside the point. Then there's the weekly calendar that is very it's very detailed, and it's the small print, and that's the one I'm talking about. The one that is the detailed one that we get a hard copy on Friday.
Yeah,
and I'm wondering that one.
So you're wondering when that goes to Touchtown?
Yes.
So on Friday, the weekly, so there's a link in the weekly newsletter on Touchtown, and the individual programs are added to the Touchtown app. It's not going to be in the same form where you can see. One of the challenges is that most of you are using Touchtown using your smartphone. So when you take the document of the weekly calendar and try to attach that into Touchtown, what happens is that none of you will be able to read it.
I do. I read it. I do. I'm able to.
But
let's let him finish. Okay. We've got a lot of questions, and we can only go so far with this.
Okay.
It's what you're saying, David, and we'll see whether others have this issue.
Yeah, but what I was going to say is it's not, everything is not all equal, and because of the Touchtown app, we cannot, it has limitations. We want to make sure you can actually see the calendar and see the programs. That to us is the most important thing.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
They're fine. Let's make these shorter answers because we still have a lot to go after you, David.
Oh, okay.
So, David, you talked about being able not to have to use your password every time you log in.
Yeah.
Is a place on one screen that you can check that says, keep me logged in. That's what you have to check, but it's not always visible. And don't remember where that comes up, but I know it came up when I first installed Touchdown.
Yeah.
So that's the missing piece is how do you find that so you can change it? Because if you didn't check it initially, then every time you come in, you have to log in.
Yeah. So I don't know the specific answer to that question. What I would say, if people are having that issue, they should come to the drop-in session, or they can put in a request with Joe, or even calling the Touchtown customer support, because every device is different, so I'm not sure.
Okay, because I'll be there and I can't answer that question now.
Okay. But you're one of my experts, so I'm hoping you can help people too.
Oh, okay. Barbara Goldstein.
Yeah, I have a question. I put in a work order for the filter on my refrigerator to be changed. And I got an email back that said, thank you for your request. It's been over a week and I've gotten no response. I just, how long should it take once you do? You know, I said they could come in when I'm not there.
Yeah.
Because of the holidays, was it backed up or is there no filters to be had? It's sort of like I'm in limbo.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't, honestly, it shouldn't take a week for somebody to get back to you. So when you fill out a form on Touchtown for a work order request, it's the same process as if you called for 9500. So if you're not getting a response, my suggestion to you, One Stop Shop has an email address, onestopshop@hsl.harbor.edu. I would say it's been a week. Can I please get an update? And then you can also call and speak directly to the engineering department.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So
Barbara, sorry, Jerry. Barbara, I can confirm that work order is in the system. So I know they have it. So I would reach out to Josie and she can give you an update.
Okay, thank you. Sylvia Schatz.
David, I want to thank you for fixing that transportation just changed. If it's not broken, don't fix it. So that worked. Thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. And these are the kinds of things where, like, I heard that from last week and I went into the form. It's a Google form, and some things I can't explain what happens. And that form, it was not in the same format that the original intention was. So that's the kind of thing where something looks wrong, let us know and we'll get it fixed. I don't know how or why that happened. But
thank you very much. It's back to you.
Rod Scholes.
David, this isn't a problem. This is something that I tried on Touchstone a couple of months ago. I just decided I was going to call people that I don't know for dinner. And I went down the list and I found 5 people at the same time. I called them, I sent them an email, and I had 5 people for dinner one night and about 5 people dinner the next night. And like this, you would have to just keep calling people. And I thought that was such a great idea. I have to do it again, but I met a lot of new people by just going through the list there.
Yeah, and remember, Roz, you were not necessarily a cheerleader of Touchtown when we first launched it.
That's right. You have to tell everybody that.
Terry Union.
Oh, thanks, David, for your explanation. I happen to like the program very much. But one of the things I'm just interested in knowing is if a committee, like the Environmental Committee, wanted to add to the message that goes out or change it in some way, who do you contact?
For now, contact me.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll be in touch.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Great presentation, David.
So I don't have a question, but I'm going to take 5 seconds and pitch my current events discussion group, which happens every Friday at 11 o'clock on Zoom. There's no limit to how many people can participate. So if you haven't come to current events. It's only been going on for 14 years. But come see what you've been missing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that too. So Josh and Eileen, you're on.
Eileen, are you still on? Okay, we may have lost Eileen. So she just had a couple of brief announcements. So I'll take the lead. First of all, she wanted to mention last night, Nosh being closed. We did a mock service last night, which some residents may have been aware of and some may not have been. The mock service was a staff training anticipating the changes that will be coming down in the near future to Nosh, including service operational changes and menu changes. We will be working on the timeline with the dining committee. And when the timeline is finalized, we will be happy to share that information with the entire community. We are waiting on a few items that are beyond our control, such as some equipment commitments in delivery of equipment, and then also some technological items that we're waiting to be implemented before we can move forward. But we will certainly share that timeline once it's been determined. We also wanted to communicate some upcoming events. We've got the next brunch in Centro on January 14th. That menu is available on the dining website under upcoming events. And then the next wind down, which will be January 22nd. So make sure you save that date. The travel plans have been put in place. I believe we're going to Switzerland.
Yeah, I got a call. I saw.
But if you have any questions, again, that is also available on the upcoming events on the dining website.
Lost sound.
And I'm sorry, Jerry, you can still hear me?
Yeah, I can. We can hear you.
Oh, okay.
David,
And
you
based
wanna
on some
take over
feedback,
from
we have added the link to the upcoming events on the main page of the dining website. Prior, you would just see Centro reservation and Centro menus and Nosh reservations and Nosh menus, and kind of had to navigate throughout the website to find the upcoming events. Because there's so much information on that piece of the dining website, we've now added that shortcut button to the main page, and that was based on feedback that we had gotten from the community. Jerry, thank you. I'm sorry if I blasted through those announcements, but I know we're going long today, so I wanted to make it as short as possible.
Thanks, Josh. We have a question from Sharon Gouveia.
Thank you. It's not a question, it's more, I just wanted to add also that this Saturday at 2 o'clock, the Hospitality Committee and the Community Life Department is presenting a Saturday social. We're once again featuring bingo, so we invite all of you to come down, take your check your chances and see how well you may win. Thank you.
So for last, it's you, Jessica.
All right, Jerry, that was a packed Zoom chat this afternoon. That was good. I have a couple of announcements. First, I just want to give our weekly COVID update that we've been giving. We currently only have one individual.
Hi, Josh. I was on. Sorry.
We only have one individual in independent living who is positive with COVID. Again, this is going to be, and you'll see it in the letter this week too, the weekly reminder to please stay home if you're not feeling well. And if you want to get tested, please call our security department. They will never have a problem giving anyone a test. You will see probably within the next week or so that we will have a new updated member handbook. That is something that we do annually. We just go through, make sure that our policies are still up to date and relevant, make sure all the staff names and phone numbers are correct. So that will be going on Touchtown within the next week, and everyone will send a little constant contact when it is so that everyone knows that it's out. I'm also reporting on behalf of Fernando, and last Friday afternoon, we received an alarm for the sewer ejectory system in the 4000 building. The engineering department went and investigated the issue, and they found that both of the sewer ejector pumps were clogged. They were clogged with paper towels, flushable wipes, and other type of wipes. So this is really just a reminder, please, please, please don't be flushing things down the toilet that are not meant to be going down the toilet, such as toilet paper. If our engineering team was not on site, there could have been a potential for a sewer backup. And of course, no one wants that. So please just flush toilet paper down the toilet. Kind of on the same topic of engineering, a lot of you have reached out to me this week asking about the grounds outside of Nosh. There are very large ruts and divots on the grass as well as in the mud. You can definitely, if you were in the Nosh area last week, you may have seen the giant truck that was stuck. He was stuck there for a little bit of time, but luckily got out. Our landscaping company, who unfortunately has kind of finished up for the year, we did call them and they came back out to try to rectify the issue, but the ground was frozen. So if we are lucky enough to have a couple days of warmer weather, then they are available, they will come out and see if they can fix it. If not, it may have to wait until the spring. And besides that, the only other thing I want to say is a huge thank you and congratulations to our dining team, to our housekeeping department, and to our community life members who really worked very hard to make the New Year's Gala very enjoyable for people. I want to thank Bob Mesnick for taking a video and pictures as he always does, which just, as Larissa said, joy came to mind, just like Sharon and our interfaith dinner. I think we're just on a joy path, but definitely the pictures and the dancing were just so joyful. So thank you for everyone who went and attended, and thank you for all the staff and the pre-work that went into that. And I see we have some questions.
We do. Anna Marcus. You have to unmute, Anna.
Things just that are totally different. Could the handbook please include the dog rules?
It always does, yes.
Okay, great. And the other thing, which I didn't talk to Jerry about, is I'd like to tell everybody that I am finished and I'm not resigning, I'm just done with my 3 years of being the head of NMA. It's been a joy. We've solved a lot of problems, listened to a lot of people, talked to all the department heads, worked with Matt and Jessica and Lynette. And I'd like to thank you for your cooperation when I've had to step in and try to solve really unpleasant problems, as well as work on the rent and food and the basic difficult things. So thank you, everyone. It's really been exciting, challenging, and wonderful to do. And we will have new elections on the 8th of January. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna, for all your work.
Okay, Maya Fine.
So Jessica, just to clarify, when you were talking about what not to put down the toilets, just because it says flushable wipes doesn't mean they're flushable.
Correct. Thank you, Mayor.
You know, so it's not, you know, toilet paper is flushable, but that's.
We'll stick with that.
Okay, Sid Josephi.
No way.
Go ahead, Sid.
Can you, am I muted or not?
No.
You're all set.
Okay. I'm sorry, the train bell is ringing here. Concerning the grounds outside Nosh, I'm wondering if you could, or maybe they have, and I haven't been down there in the last day and a half, mark them off with some string and orange cones. I usually take a shortcut across the grass. I don't know if other people do, but if they can't see it, if they don't know about it, then it might be a problem.
Thank you, Sid. I'll follow up with Fernando in the morning.
Okay.
Just to see.
Okay, are there any other questions? All right, we'll see you next week. Thank you very much. And
Bye, everyone.
bye.